Well, I told you yesterday that we would be looking at this today. The rehabilitation, for lack of a better term, of the Biden presidency that's happened over a period of just 26 days is quite stunning. Think back to 26 days almost a month ago. Gas prices were down a little bit, but not really that much. We had just gotten yet another higher inflation report. Joe Biden had a significant lag time in terms of major legislative accomplishments during his presidency. And many were saying, what is the game plan here? What is the justification for voting for Democrats in November? What's the justification for thinking it's even remotely plausible that Joe Biden might run for reelection in November, or in November of 2024, that is? And you had a relatively strong Trump doing rallies, searching, still with quite a high favorability rating among Republicans. And think about the last 26 days, where we have now seen a significant, not yet explosive, but significant, very decided uptick in Joe Biden's approval rating. If you take a look at the numbers, you see that the approval rating for Joe Biden bottomed out right around July 20, July 21. That was kind of the low point, now closing in on about a month ago. And since then, it has been a decidedly positive trend, not so much in terms of the numbers. I mean, it's really just been a shift from 37 to 40. But remember that these are averages among many different polls, and the direction is clearly positive. Compared to past presidents, you might remember that 538 has this great tool where you can compare Joe Biden's current approval rating to those of past presidents at this point in time. I believe we're 574 days into Joe Biden's presidency. And it was below every single president dating all the way back to Truman. It's now not quite so bad. If you compare to prior presidents, Joe Biden's uptick is now putting himself within striking distance of where Donald Trump was at this point in his presidency. If you look at Bill Clinton, with just a couple more points, Biden would now have an equivalent approval rating to that of Bill Clinton at this point in his presidency. You look at Reagan, basically the same. That gap where Reagan was more popular at this point in his presidency has essentially been eliminated, and Biden has almost caught up there, roughly equal to Jimmy Carter, and now above Harry Truman. Harry Truman, very low approval rating at this point in his presidency, only 33, and Joe Biden above that. So what is the reason for this change? Well, it's a combination of things. It's some good news for Joe Biden and really just humiliating bad news for Republicans and for Donald Trump. If you look at the Biden side, the positive side, Inflation Reduction Act, PACT Act, a jobs report with more than twice the number of new jobs created versus the expectation. A wage report, wages up 0.5% in July. Inflation report, inflation year over year coming down for the 12-month period ending on July 31st. And yes, although admittedly controversial among progressives, the strike that successfully killed al-Qaeda terrorist Ayman al-Zawahiri. No due process, of concern to many down on the left. We will talk about that on the Thursday show. But as far as presidential accomplishments tend to go, taking out a known terrorist on the most wanted list, generally speaking, is considered an accomplishment. And I know everybody will get mad, and everybody emails me and says, David, how can you call that an accomplishment? How could you gloat about that? It might not even be legal. I'm with you. But as far as presidential accomplishments are concerned, it certainly counts. So Joe Biden doing significantly much to help himself. And then also you look at what's happening on the Republican side. Donald Trump now under criminal investigation for violating the Espionage Act, among a number of other different federal statutes. His home, Mar-a-Lago, having a search warrant served, tons of stuff taken. We learned yesterday that Trump's former personal lawyer, Rudy Giuliani, is now under criminal investigation in Georgia. We learned yesterday that Donald Trump's Trump Organization CFO, Alan Weisselberg, is getting ready to take a guilty plea. It's all very, very bad on the Trump side. So all of a sudden, you have the midterms not looking so bad, with Democrats now not by much, but slightly favored to take the Senate. Democrats still likely to lose the House, but maybe by not very much, and at least a reinvigorated Democratic electorate. Now, what will actually happen in November and what is the viability of Trump and or Biden to run in 2024? Still unclear, but a dramatic turnaround from where things were certainly 60 days ago. Oh, and gas prices. I forgot to mention gas prices also yesterday or today ending something like a 65 consecutive day decline. All of those things are good as far as the presidency is concerned. And yeah, I mean, listen, it's a reasonable thing to make the case that actually higher gas prices, in a sense, are good long term because they encourage people to abandon gasoline powered vehicles. You're 100% correct if that's your view. But the narrative is the very high gas prices are a negative indicator for the economy. Gas prices coming down are a good thing. And so we have to analyze these things, not so much in the full depth that you and I might, but in terms of how it is perceived as far as a presidency goes. And a very good 26 days for Joe Biden. Will it continue? We don't know, but we will follow it.